Don't sleep on Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2045. Trust me, I know the whole series looks like a PS3 JRPG cutscene, but I think it's worth your time if you're into cyberpunk and sci-fi like The Matrix, and that's even if you haven't watched any of the previous Ghost in the Shell anime. Yes, this is technically a standalone sequel to 2002's Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex anime, along with its second season, second gig, both which are actually free to stream on AdultSwim.com in dub form. I saw that original series and I was honestly blown away. I watched them 2 or 3 times. Although it's been about 15 years for me, I haven't rewatched it before. I jumped right into 2045, and I think you can too. Now, why am I talking about Standalone Complex 2045, or SAC 2045? Well, that's because Netflix dropped its second season this past Monday, 5/23, and I binged the entire series, not just season 2, in 3 days. And I think it was worth it. After an economic world disaster known as the simultaneous global default, which is basically all forms of currency across the entire Earth being destroyed, the 4 big nations of the world are engaged in a state of perpetual, sustainable war to keep the economy going. To me, which is very reminiscent of the whole war economy plotline from Metal Gear Solid 4. In this world, many people are cyborgs, or at least have cyber brains installed that allows them to basically use the internet in their mind. Major Matoko Kusanagi is the former leader of Japanese Public Safety Section 9. Currently, in 2045, Section 9 has been disbanded, and her, along with most of her former crew, are working together as mercenaries for hire. As the series goes, basically Section 9 gets reformed and pulled this way and that into different government conspiracies due to the awakening of mysterious post-humans, which are formerly everyday people that seem to have gone ballistic out of nowhere. They're killing major political figures, and there's an even bigger plot. I don't want to get into too many spoilers right here, but it's pretty good. And yeah, I said don't sleep on SAC 2045 because, yes, the story is actually pretty great. Granted, the ending is very sci-fi in general, where it's a bit open-ended, and there are a few plot holes that I probably have to go through the series another time or two to sort of dig into, but I don't think really any of those add anything too negative to the show, because overall, this is really a series that is about interesting characters and interesting themes. Let's talk a little bit about themes first. People have cybernetic enhancements, physical upgrades, but also 2045 deals with the upgrading of your consciousness as well. You know, it's called Ghost in a Shell, so it deals with immortality. People are moving their brains into fully prosthetic bodies and still being a person, or are they? What if you can download all of your memories and emotions and upload them into something else without a brain? Are you still human? Are you alive? 2045 also tackles death and loss and how people are affected. And of course, revolution. People want to be free from the government or war, or maybe war is the actual freedom. I'll be light on spoilers for this video, because I think if you're watching it, you want to know why you should watch it. But I am planning an ending explanation video that I'll have out probably in a day or two. But I want to talk just loosely about some of the plot beats here, just so I can spark your interest. The first 6 episodes of Season 1 get you acquainted with the world and the characters. It's almost like a prequel because it doesn't dive completely into the full plot that's going on for the rest of the first half of Season 1 and all of Season 2. Episode 7 is basically a one-off involving Section 9 second-in-command Batou, who is one of my favorite characters. I think people would consider him the male lead of the series, opposite of the Major. And this is also one of my favorite episodes of the whole series. And brings up a little bit of a side note. Don't watch the Sustainable War movie because it's just a recut of Season 1. Literally, just the recut of the episodes. I'm pretty sure it leaves out all of Episode 7, which is my favorite one. It only cuts the series down from about 4 hours to 2, and if you really want to get through it quickly, if you watch the show, I watched a couple episodes on 1.5 times speed if you watch it in Netflix in the browser, and the episodes are only about 14 minutes long when you skip the intro and the end credits. So just do that if you want to get through Season 1 quickly. Now, Episode 8 is where sort of the major plot line finally starts. This is the overarching plot line for the rest of Season 1 and Season 2. The newly formed Section 9 are now chasing around a few of these post-humans who are basically now holding the world hostage. And I mentioned before, post-humans were just normal everyday people. I believe they have a cyber brain, which is why this can happen to them. But they've basically evolved into something crazy where people can't always see them, they're hidden from surveillance, and they're driving people crazy or they're killing political figures. It's a very interesting story. And I even have to say that as interesting and as cool as this story is, it's not even my favorite part of this series. It's the characters. Surprisingly, not really the major, but both Batou and Taogusa, who sort of share the main character role in this series along with newcomer Purin Izaki, and even the spider-like tank AI's Tachikoma, who all basically share some episode spotlight. If it's not a full episode, it's like half the episode, and they're all really interesting. For Taogusa, I like Taogusa a lot because we get to actually dive into his backstory, at least for Taogusa, the normal of the group, because he only has a cyber brain where most of them have cybernetic enhancement, whether it be eyes or different limbs, or most of them, I believe, are actually full body cyborgs. Taogusa is basically a detective, and he truly wants to help others. The other main, Batou, is a full cyborg who truly cares for his comrades, and while the newcomer Izaki I initially found a little bit annoying, she actually winds up playing much more of a bigger role of the series, and it's very interesting. And she plays along with themes that I mentioned at the top of the video. We need to talk about the graphics because it's weird calling them graphics, because is it an anime when it's CGI? I guess so. Yes, they're awful. Like I said, they look like a video game. It almost looks like they didn't have enough budget to add a couple more layers of detail. And oddly enough, there are some little things that I picked up on that are kind of cool, but it doesn't really help because it looks awful. But for example, Taogusa, I noticed that as the series goes on, his 5 o'clock shadow, he gets more whiskers and it gets a little darker, whereas he's like mostly clean shaven at the beginning. But yeah, all the character models look pretty lifeless, especially the Major. I know she's a full body cyborg, but to me she doesn't look like the Major from the anime, at least from Standalone Complex. She kind of looks like a figure, like a cheap knockoff figure of the Major. Everyone else has upgraded designs. It's kind of cool seeing Batou, for example. I remember in Standalone Complex, he had pulled back hair. His hair was long and pulled back into a ponytail, and this one it's short and spiky. It's something that you do have to overcome. I understand if you can't. For me, yes, it looks awful. After about 4 episodes, I got used to it, and I really didn't mind because, like I said, the story and the characters are really great. One part of the series that I really didn't care for too much, which it's necessary, but it's the action sequences. It's because that it just looks awful. When you're looking at these PS3 looking character models, it's just not that exciting to watch because it just looks like trash. There's the meme-worthy scene, if you haven't seen it already, the first post-human that they encounter does this.
What is this guy, some kind of freak?
Which is all kinds of terrible, but the action is fine, it's needed. I really just wish this wasn't CGI and was true animation. I think more people would take a chance on watching it. But as I said, don't sleep on it. Check it out. At the very least, if you've never seen any Ghost in the Shell. I have to admit, I haven't seen the original Ghost in the Shell movies. I started with Standalone Complex and Second Gig. Probably should get to those soon. If you're having trouble looking past maybe some of the CGI, even though I'm saying that the characters and the story is awesome, but at least check out the original Standalone Complex, because like I said, it's free on AdultSwim.com. Just know that it's a full 2-season series at 52 episodes. And I mentioned earlier that I'm going to have another video going full spoilers into the ending, so make sure to subscribe for that. And until next time, see ya.